Have you ever glanced in the mirror and quietly wondered, is this chapter of my life drawing to a close? Not your career, not your years of raising children. I'm talking about your intimate life affection, physical contact, closeness. For many individuals in their 60s, 70s, or even 80s, intimacy can start to feel like a distant memory, something that belonged to younger, more energetic versions of themselves. Perhaps you've come to terms with that. Maybe you've told yourself it's just a natural part of aging. But what if that assumption is silently stealing something precious from you? What if giving up physical intimacy doesn't just impact your relationships, but also gradually erodes your heart, health, your sleep quality, your memory, your immune system, and even your sense of purpose? What if this quiet withdrawal from closeness is accelerating the very things we fear most about growing older? Loneliness, decline, and feeling invisible. This isn't about chasing an illusion of youth. It's not about pretending you're 25 again. This is about honoring a fundamental truth that too many older adults never get to hear. Physical intimacy isn't a luxury. It's a vital lifeline. You see, our culture has conditioned us to believe that affection belongs to the young, to those with smooth skin, a fast metabolism, and boundless energy. But science tells a different story. Intimacy in older adults is directly linked to improved cardiovascular health, sharper cognitive function, deeper sleep, a stronger immune system, and yes, even a longer life. Yet beyond the scientific data, there's something even more profound. The emotional connection, the feeling of being held, the reassurance of being seen, desired, and loved, not in spite of your age, but because of the person you've become. This video isn't about dictating what you should be doing. It's about uncovering what you may have forgotten, what your body and heart may still be quietly yearning for. Because the truth is, no one ever told you that you've aged out of love, that you've outgrown desire. And no matter how long it's been, you can begin again. So if any part of this resonated with you, stay with me. We're going to explore 10 powerful ways that physical intimacy impacts your health, your happiness, and your longevity after 60, and why reclaiming this aspect of yourself might just be the most life-affirming thing you've done in years. And before we delve in, please consider clicking that subscribe button and turning on the notification bell. This channel is here to provide you with honest conversations about aging, health, relationships, and everything in between. Because growing older doesn't mean fading away. It means living more deeply. Your heart feels it first. It often begins in the subtlest ways: a slight tightness in your chest after walking across the room, a flutter in your heartbeat after climbing just a few stairs. You attribute it to aging, to time doing what time does. But what if your heart is whispering something else? What if it's missing not just physical activity or medication, but something far more human: intimacy? Especially in our later years, intimacy is more than just affection. It's nourishment. When we share a loving touch, a warm embrace, or the closeness of physical connection, our heart responds as if it's been given a gentle reminder that we are still here, still worthy of love. Blood pressure eases, circulation improves, inflammation subsides. It's as if your heart remembers how to breathe again. But when intimacy disappears, when days turn into months without touch or closeness, the body tenses up, stress lingers longer, and the heart quietly begins to carry more weight than it was ever meant to. The arteries stiffen, the rhythm falters, and over time, what we often blame on getting older may actually be the consequence of growing distant from the very thing that once made us feel most alive. This isn't about performance or frequency. It's about presence, connection, knowing someone still sees you, holds you, loves you, not just for who you were, but for who you are now. So if your heart has felt weary lately, more than just physically, perhaps it's not solely your age. Perhaps it's the ache of a heart that longs not just to beat, but to belong too. Your muscles and joints begin to weaken. You might not think of it this way, but every time you move, every stretch to reach the top shelf, every step to get out of bed, every turn to greet someone you cherish, it's your muscles and joints quietly supporting you. And just like any part of the body, they thrive on use. What many people overlook is that physical intimacy, however gentle, however simple, is one of the most natural, joyful ways to keep the body moving. It's not about rigorous exercise. It's about the way your arms wrap around someone, the way your hips shift, the way your back arches when you lean into a hug or share a moment of closeness. These movements, small as they may seem, activate muscles, loosen joints, and help maintain the balance and coordination that becomes so precious as we age. But when that kind of connection fades, when touch disappears from your daily life, the body starts to forget. Muscles begin to weaken, not from disease, but from disuse. Joints grow stiff, and movement starts to feel more like effort than instinct. It's not a sudden change. It happens gradually, almost imperceptibly, until one day you realize you're avoiding stairs, skipping your morning walks, sitting longer than you used to. The strength you once had doesn't vanish. It slips away, and with it sometimes goes the confidence to move freely through the world. But here's the truth. You don't need a gym membership to stay strong. You don't need perfect health. What you need is connection, a reason to reach, a moment to move, and the quiet power that comes from knowing your body is still capable of closeness, of movement, and of joy. Your brain begins to lose its sharpness. There's a quiet kind of forgetfulness that sneaks up on us with age. It's not just misplacing your keys or pausing to recall someone's name. It's the mental fog that rolls in when your days feel repetitive, when the spark that once illuminated your thoughts begins to dim. But here's something few people discuss. Physical intimacy can be powerful nourishment for your brain. During moments of closeness, whether it's a loving touch, a lingering embrace, or something more intimate, your brain releases a cascade of neurochemicals like dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins. These aren't just feel-good hormones. They play a vital role in supporting memory, improving focus, easing anxiety, and lifting the cloud of low mood that so many older adults quietly carry. Intimacy is quite literally a form of mental stimulation, one that keeps your brain engaged, your emotions balanced, and your spirit grounded. But when intimacy fades, the brain feels that absence in ways you might not expect. Thoughts become slower, motivation wanes, sleep feels less restorative, and everyday joys don't shine as brightly. Anxiety creeps in, loneliness lingers, and your once sharp mind starts to retreat into silence. It's not just emotional, it's neurological. You see, the brain is like any other part of the body. It needs stimulation to stay strong. And while puzzles and reading are beneficial, nothing quite replaces the full body spark that intimacy provides. So if you've been feeling forgetful, foggy, or just not quite yourself, don't be so quick to blame it on getting older. Sometimes it's your brain quietly mourning the loss of connection, longing for the gentle reminder that it's still alive, still needed, and still capable of joy. Emotional intimacy begins to fade, somewhere along the way, without anyone intending it. Love can grow quiet. You still share meals, manage finances, even sit on the same couch. But the closeness feels different, like something's missing. And often that missing piece is emotional intimacy, the kind that flourishes from physical connection. Intimacy isn't solely about bodies. It's a language of trust, of tenderness, of feeling truly seen. When that physical touch diminishes, when kisses become fleeting, and the bedroom falls silent, couples can start to feel less like partners and more like roommates, functioning side by side, but no longer reaching for one another. Over time, even the strongest relationships can begin to feel hollow, not from a lack of love, but from a lack of its expression. Without regular intimacy, the warmth that once filled the space between you begins to cool. Conversations become more routine, eye contact lessens, and a subtle kind of loneliness creeps in. Not because you're alone, but because you feel unseen. For many older adults, this emotional distance can be more painful than physical aging. It's not that we stop needing love, it's that we stop believing we deserve it. But the truth is, emotional closeness doesn't fade because of age. It fades because we stop making time for it. And physical intimacy, no matter how gentle or infrequent, has the power to reignite that spark, to remind your partner and yourself that connection still exists here. That even after all these years, you are still worthy of being held, desired, and deeply known. Sleep becomes a struggle. You close your eyes hoping for rest, but your mind keeps racing. You toss and turn, you sigh. The clock ticks past midnight and sleep still eludes you. For many older adults, a good night's sleep feels like something that quietly slipped away. And while we often blame aging, aches, or worries, there's one silent factor we rarely discuss: the absence of physical intimacy. Following a moment of sexual release, the body naturally produces prolactin, a hormone that helps you relax, unwind, and gently drift into deep restorative sleep. Alongside that oxytocin, the cuddle hormone floods your system, lowering stress and calming your nervous system. Together, they create a state of peace that sleeping pills often can't replicate. But when intimacy disappears, so do those calming chemical signals. The body holds on to tension, the mind stays alert, and you're left lying awake, caught between exhaustion and restlessness. Over time, this takes a toll, not just on your energy levels, but on your mood, your memory, and your ability to feel like yourself. You wake up groggy, perhaps irritable. The days blur together, and the simple joy of waking up refreshed becomes rare. What's often missing isn't just sleep, it's connection, that feeling of closeness that tells your body it's safe, it's cared for, and it can let go. So if sleep has become harder to find, don't just look to medications or white noise machines. Sometimes the most natural sleep aid is something far more human: being touched, being loved, being close to someone who makes you feel at ease. And that at any age is still possible. Self-esteem and confidence begin to fade. There's a quiet kind of fading that doesn't show up in the mirror, but you feel it nonetheless. It's in the way you avoid looking too long at your reflection, the way you stop reaching for your favorite clothes, the way you begin to believe without ever saying it aloud, that perhaps your most desirable days are behind you. For many older adults, the absence of physical intimacy brings more than just silence in the bedroom. It brings the slow erosion of how we perceive ourselves. When no one touches you, when no one reaches for you, when desire disappears from your life, it's easy to start feeling invisible. Not because you've changed so drastically, but because the world has stopped reflecting your beauty back to you. You stop feeling vibrant, you stop feeling seen, and over time that self-doubt settles in like dust on a shelf. But here's the truth: physical intimacy reminds us that we are still alive, not just breathing, but truly living. When someone wants to hold you, to kiss you, to be close to you, not out of obligation, but out of desire, it sends a message deeper than words: you still matter. You're still beautiful, you're still wanted. And that message, whether it comes from a partner or from reconnecting with your own body, has the power to shift everything. Your smile returns, your posture straightens, you walk through the world with a quiet dignity once more. Because intimacy isn't about youth, it's about aliveness, and that never goes out of style. Your immune system begins to weaken. As we get older, we start paying closer attention to what safeguards our health: vitamins. A warm coat in the winter, perhaps a daily walk to keep the blood flowing. But there's one powerful line of defense that often gets overlooked: intimacy. Believe it or not, physical closeness, especially sexual intimacy, doesn't just warm the heart, it strengthens the body in ways most people never realize. During moments of physical connection, your body increases its production of immunoglobulin, AIGA, a natural antibody that plays a crucial role in defending against common colds, respiratory infections, and even viruses that tend to affect older adults. Think of it as your body's quiet frontline soldier: stronger when you feel loved, weaker when connection is missing. But that's not all. Regular intimacy also helps regulate hormone levels, reduces inflammation, and supports cellular repair, all of which are essential in keeping the immune system balanced and alert. When physical touch and desire fade away, so does this protective response, and the effects can creep in slowly. You might catch more colds than usual, feel inexplicably worn down, or take longer to recover from minor illnesses. You may not connect it to intimacy, but your body knows it misses the healing signal that comes with being close to someone. Even gently, you don't need to be wildly active or passionate. Even the simple act of holding hands, of sharing warmth, of feeling emotionally safe, can strengthen your body from the inside out. Because real protection doesn't always come in a bottle, sometimes it comes from being held. Stress and anxiety begin to rise. Stress doesn't always strike like a thunderbolt. Sometimes it seeps in quietly through tight shoulders. Restless nights, persistent headaches, or that heavy feeling you just can't shake. And while many people reach for medication, deep breathing exercises, or distractions, there's one natural remedy that too often goes unmentioned: intimacy. Physical connection, whether it's a tender touch, a shared embrace, or the deeper closeness between two people, acts like a built-in calming system for the human body. During intimate moments, your brain releases a cocktail of hormones like dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. Together, they achieve something remarkable. They lower cortisol levels, relax your nervous system, and bring a sense of peace that's hard to find elsewhere. It's why after physical closeness, people often sleep better, feel lighter, and handle life's little stressors with more grace. But when intimacy fades, that natural balance disappears. The body holds on to tension, the mind starts racing at night, small frustrations feel magnified, and worry finds its way in without that emotional anchor. You may feel more irritable, more anxious, or even more isolated sometimes without knowing exactly why. And while age brings its own set of concerns, the absence of connection amplifies them. You begin to carry the weight of the world alone. But the beautiful truth is, this can be reversed. Intimacy, even in its most gentle forms, can still be a sanctuary, a soft place to land a signal to your body that it's okay to exhale, that you are not alone. Because sometimes healing doesn't come in silence. It comes in closeness. Relationships become more fragile. You don't always pinpoint the exact moment it happens. One day you're talking about everything. Dreams, memories, silly little things that made you laugh, and then slowly the conversations grow shorter. The spark dims, you still share a home, a bed, a life, but something sacred feels missing. When physical intimacy slips away, it doesn't just leave a quiet room, it leaves a quiet ache, a distance. And over time, couples who were once deeply connected begin to drift, not because the love is gone, but because the expressions of love have faded. The small gestures, the touch on the arm, the kiss, goodnight. These are the threads that keep emotional closeness alive. Without them, even a decades-long relationship can start to feel like a quiet partnership rather than a vibrant union. Affection in its truest form isn't just physical, it's playful. It's vulnerable. It's a sacred space where walls come down and two people remember who they are to each other. It keeps laughter in the air, tenderness in your words, and warmth in your gaze. And when that fades, so does the glue that holds your emotional connection together. Many couples think this change is inevitable. We're older now, they say, but age doesn't erase the fundamental human need to feel chosen, cherished, and desired. In fact, the longer you've journeyed through life together, the more vital that bond becomes, because relationships aren't sustained by time alone. They're sustained by intimacy, by showing up for one another again and again in ways both grand and subtle. So if you've sensed a shift between you and your partner, perhaps it's not about falling out of love. Maybe it's simply time to find your way back through touch, through closeness, through simply reaching out. The body forgets, use it or lose it. The body possesses a profound wisdom. It adapts it, remembers what you give it consistently, and it gradually lets go of what you no longer use, just as muscles atrophy without movement, or balance deteriorates when we stop walking regularly. Our intimate function too thrives on use, familiarity, and gentle repetition. But when intimacy disappears for an extended period, the body quietly starts to forget. For men, this might manifest as slower arousal, reduced sensitivity, or increased difficulty maintaining an erection. For women, it may mean increased dryness, discomfort, or a decrease in natural elasticity, making intimacy feel more like an obligation than a connection. These changes don't occur overnight. They arrive incrementally, often unnoticed at first, until one day, closeness feels awkward or even unwelcome. And here's the challenging part. The longer you wait, the more difficult it can become to rediscover that intimacy, not because your body's broken, but because it has been deprived of the signals it needs to stay ready, responsive, and alive. However, just as the body can forget, it can also relearn. With patience, with tenderness, with understanding from both yourself and your partner, gentle touch, slow rediscovery, and open communication can begin to awaken those sensations once more. You don't need to chase an illusion of youth. You don't need to perform. What you need is permission to feel, to explore, to reconnect, not just with someone else, but with your own body, because you're still here, still capable of closeness, still deserving of comfort, pleasure, and love. And it's never too late to remind your body what it was always meant to remember: how to feel good, how to feel loved, how to feel alive, which you can do starting today. No matter your age, your history, or how long it's been, you can begin again, and it doesn't have to start with anything dramatic. An honest, open-hearted conversation with your partner can be more intimate than anything physical. Share how you feel, voice your longings aloud, Talk about what's changed, what's missing, and what you quietly hope to find again. Sometimes simply being heard is the first step towards healing. Start small. Gentle touch matters. Holding hands, resting your head on someone's shoulder, sharing a quiet hug before bed. These moments lay the foundation for deeper closeness. They remind your body and heart what it feels like to connect again. Seek support. If physical challenges arise, and they often do, it's okay. There is no shame in needing assistance, whether it's vaginal dryness, low libido, or difficulty with arousal. Your doctor can help. Today's treatments are safer, more age-appropriate, and far more common than you might think. You are not alone in this. Embrace self-connection. If you're single, know this: your path to intimacy doesn't depend on having a partner. It begins with your relationship to yourself. Reconnecting with your body, honoring its needs, and exploring what brings you peace, comfort, and even joy can awaken confidence and vitality in powerful ways. Self-connection is not a substitute, it's a foundation. Because here's the truth spoken plainly: you are not past your prime. You are not too old. You are simply ready for a new kind of closeness, one rooted not in youthful ideals, but in authentic truth. This isn't about returning to who you once were. It's about rediscovering who you are now and allowing yourself the grace to feel alive again. Because the right time to begin is today. A valuable lesson. The most profound lesson here is that our need for connection, for touch, for intimacy, doesn't have an expiration date. It's a fundamental human requirement that persists throughout our lives. To deny ourselves this vital aspect of being is to inadvertently diminish our physical health, our mental well-being, and the very fabric of our relationships. Reclaiming intimacy in our later years isn't about chasing a fleeting past. It's about embracing a richer, more connected present. If this message resonated with you, we encourage you to share a word of hope in the comments below. Whether it's for your own journey or for someone you love, your voice matters. Sometimes even a single word can be the spark someone else needs to begin again. As we age, the world often encourages us to step aside quietly, to shrink, to accept less connection, less intimacy, less life. But what if aging wasn't about fading, but about deepening? What if this chapter right now isn't the end of the story, but the beginning of the most honest, tender, and meaningful part? You don't have to turn back time. You don't have to be who you once were. You only need to remember you are still here, still worthy of being touched, still capable of love, still alive in every way that truly matters, because intimacy isn't about youth. It's about being fully present, fully seen and fully felt, and that is timeless. So tonight, when the house is quiet and the world slows down, ask yourself gently, what part of me have I left behind that's quietly waiting to come back to life? And if you hear even the faintest whisper from within, follow it. It's never too late to come home to yourself. If this message spoke to your heart, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe for more heart-filled conversations about aging, health, and living fully. And we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment with the word hope if you believe it's never too late to reconnect with your body, your heart, or your story. Your voice might be the light someone else needs today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for still choosing to grow. Rate this video on a scale of 1 to 10.